Let's start with an observation. Every single night, millions of people lie in bed doing mental gymnastics, trying to force their minds into submission, wrestling with thoughts that refuse to quiet down. And here's the thing nobody tells you. That struggle itself is the very thing keeping you awake. I spent years believing that sleep was something I had to conquer, like it was this opponent I needed to defeat with the right technique, the perfect routine, the magical combination of supplements and sleep hygiene rules. I had blackout curtains, white noise machines, meditation apps, and a bedtime routine so rigid it would make a military sergeant proud. Yet there I was, night after night, lying in the dark, more awake than I'd been all day. The word surrender felt like giving up. It felt weak. But what I didn't understand then, and what changed everything once I finally got it, was that surrender isn't about defeat. It's about finally understanding the game you're actually playing. Think about how a child falls asleep. They don't strategize. They don't lie there thinking about sleep optimization. They simply let go. Somewhere between childhood and adulthood, we forget this fundamental truth about how consciousness works. We start treating sleep like a project to manage instead of a natural rhythm to flow with. What makes this significant is your brain cannot be commanded into sleep. It can only be invited. And that invitation looks nothing like what most of us have been taught. I remember the first time someone suggested I try affirmations for sleep, and I literally laughed out loud. It sounded like the most pointless thing imaginable. I mean, telling myself nice things while lying there frustrated? How was that supposed to help? But I was desperate enough to try anything, and that desperation turned out to be the crack that let something new in. Here's what I discovered that first night I actually tried it properly. The affirmations weren't about making myself believe something magical. They were about giving my mind something softer to land on than the sharp edges of anxiety and frustration. They were gentle handholds that guided my attention away from the frantic energy of trying and into the spacious energy of allowing. The historical context of sleep affirmations is actually fascinating. Ancient cultures understood something about the liminal space between waking and sleeping that we've largely forgotten. In Sanskrit traditions, there are practices called yoga nidra, yogic sleep, that use guided awareness to walk the conscious mind right up to the edge of sleep and then gently tip it over. Tibetan dream yoga practices similarly recognize that the transition into sleep isn't just dead time, but a portal to different states of consciousness. These weren't primitive people who didn't understand sleep science. These were sophisticated wisdom traditions that understood something we're only now rediscovering through neuroscience. The state between waking and sleeping is uniquely receptive. Your conscious filters start to dissolve. Your analytical mind begins to quiet. You enter what researchers call the hypnagogic state, where suggestion moves directly into your subconscious without the usual critical interference. This is the moment where modern science and ancient wisdom actually shake hands. Contemporary sleep research shows that the beta brainwave patterns of normal waking consciousness, those rapid, busy frequencies, gradually shift into alpha and then theta waves as we approach sleep. In those theta wave moments, your brain is incredibly suggestible. It's why thoughts that seem manageable during the day can feel overwhelming at night. But it's also why intentional, gentle affirmations can be so powerful. You're literally working with your neurology instead of against it. Now here's where most people go wrong with sleep affirmations, and honestly, where I went wrong for weeks before I figured this out. They treat them like they're trying to convince themselves of something. They use future tense, I will sleep well tonight, or they make them too complex, too wordy, too much like a sales pitch to the self. But there's more to this. The most effective sleep affirmations aren't arguments. They're acceptances. They're not trying to change reality. They're acknowledging a reality that already exists beneath your resistance. Sleep isn't something you need to achieve. It's something your body already knows how to do. You've done it thousands of times. Your entire physiology is designed for it. The affirmations are simply removing the obstacles you've placed in the way. This is worth repeating. You are not creating the capacity to sleep. You are uncovering it. Let me share what a truly effective, gentle sleep affirmation practice actually looks like, because this is where the transformation happens. First, you need to understand that timing matters. Don't start your affirmations the moment your head hits the pillow. Give yourself a few minutes to settle. Let your body find its preferred position. Notice the weight of your head on the pillow, the way the blanket rests on your skin, the temperature of the room. This physical grounding is essential. Then, and only then, begin with your first affirmation. But here's the key. Say it slowly. I mean glacially slow compared to your normal thinking speed. If you're saying it at the pace of regular thought, you're going too fast. Try this one with me right now, even if you're not in bed. My body knows how to rest. Did you rush through it? Most people do. Now try it again, but pause after each word. Let each word exist in its own moment. My body knows how to rest. Feel the difference? That slowness isn't just technique, it's the actual mechanism of surrender. You cannot rush and surrender at the same time. They're incompatible states. Here's another one that completely changed my relationship with nighttime. This moment is safe enough to let go. What I love about this affirmation is that it's not making grand claims. It's not saying everything in your life is perfect or that all your concerns are invalid. It's simply acknowledging that right now, in this specific moment, in this bed, in this darkness, you can afford to release your grip on vigilance. Just for now, just for this moment. The evolution of my own practice has been interesting to witness. I started with affirmations I found online, and some of them worked okay. But the real breakthrough came when I started creating affirmations that spoke directly to my specific resistances. I'm a control person, always have been. My anxiety manifests as a need to manage and anticipate everything. So my mind at night would spin through tomorrow's scenarios, mentally rehearsing conversations, planning contingencies, basically trying to control a future that hadn't happened yet. The affirmation that finally addressed this wasn't generic. It was, tomorrow will arrive whether I think about it or not. Such a simple truth, but my brain needed to hear it, needed permission to stop the planning. And I needed to say it not once, but many times, letting each repetition sink deeper, like water slowly soaking into dry ground. What makes this significant is your affirmations need to meet you where you actually are, not where you think you should be. If your mind races with worry, an affirmation like, I am completely calm, might actually create more tension because it contradicts your present experience so dramatically. But my thoughts can move without me holding on to them. That acknowledges the racing thoughts while introducing the possibility of a different relationship with them. If you struggle with physical tension, every breath releases what I don't need, works with your body's natural rhythm instead of demanding immediate relaxation. If you battle with the frustration of still being awake, sleep will come in its own time, removes the pressure of the timeline you've imposed. See how each of these works with reality rather than against it? That's the art of gentle affirmation. It's collaboration, not combat. Let me walk you through what a complete practice might look like, the kind of practice that could become your personal bridge to sleep. You're in bed now. Lights are off. You've done whatever physical routine works for you. Now you simply notice your breath, not controlling it, just noticing the cool air entering, the warm air leaving, the subtle pause between breaths. After a minute or so of this, you introduce your first affirmation. I am exactly where I need to be. You say it silently, slowly, letting it fill the space of one full exhale. Then you pause, you notice, you breathe. You don't rush to the next repetition. This isn't a race or a recitation. It's more like dropping smooth stones into still water and watching the ripples. After several repetitions, maybe 5, maybe 10, there's no counting required. You might move to your second affirmation. My body is getting heavier. And here's something beautiful. You don't have to make your body get heavier. You just notice that it already is. Gravity is already working on you. You're already sinking into the mattress. The affirmation just directs your attention to something true that's already happening. This makes all the difference. You're not creating a false reality. You're acknowledging an existing one. And that acknowledgement itself deepens the experience. Your awareness of heaviness increases the sensation of heaviness. It's a gentle spiral downward into rest. Your third affirmation might be, each breath takes me deeper into peace. Again, you're linking the affirmation to something that's already occurring. You're breathing. Your breath doesn't require your management. It's happening automatically, whether you think about it or not. By associating it with deepening peace, you're giving your mind a trajectory, a direction to drift toward. this is the moment where affirmations become more than words. They become the actual experience of surrendering. You might notice that at some point you forget to continue the affirmations. Your mind has drifted somewhere else. Maybe into a half-dream, maybe into a memory, maybe just into a kind of soft blankness. This isn't failure. This is exactly what you want. The affirmations have done their job. They've escorted your consciousness right up to the edge. If you realize you're still awake and thinking, you don't get frustrated. You simply return to your affirmations. My only task is to breathe and let go. There's something almost humorous about how simple this is. In a world where we're told we need to do more, achieve more, optimize more, sleep asks us to do nothing. Absolutely nothing. The current state of sleep in our culture is a bit of a crisis, honestly. We're collectively exhausted, but simultaneously unable to rest. We wear our busyness like badges of honor. We apologize for needing 8 hours of sleep as though it's a weakness. We scroll through our phones until the moment we try to sleep, flooding our brains with blue, light and stimulation, then wonder why we can't just flip the off switch. Into this context, gentle affirmation practice offers something countercultural: permission to do nothing, to be unproductive, to surrender control. Here's an angle that deserves more attention, but there's more to this. It also offers you a chance to change the entire story you tell yourself about sleep. Maybe you've been telling yourself you're a bad sleeper. You've claimed this identity, worn it like a label. I'm an insomniac. I've never been able to sleep well. These aren't just descriptions. They're self-fulfilling prophecies. Your brain hears these stories and shapes your reality to match them. Gentle affirmations give you the opportunity to write a different story, not an unrealistic one. You're not claiming to be the world's best sleeper, just a truer one. My body has the wisdom to rest. I am learning to trust the process of sleep. Each night, I practice letting go. These are stories you can actually step into. They're not demanding perfection. They're allowing evolution. I've watched this transformation in my own life. The nights I sleep poorly now, and yes, they still happen, I respond differently. Instead of spiraling into anxiety about being tired tomorrow, instead of getting angry at my body for betraying me, I simply return to my affirmations. This night is just one night. My body will balance itself. I am safe even when tired. The future implications of genuinely understanding surrender in sleep extend far beyond just getting more rest, though better sleep is wonderful enough on its own. When you learn to surrender at night, you're training a muscle you can use during the day. Think about it. How many times during your waking hours do you grip tightly to things you cannot control? How often do you exhaust yourself trying to force outcomes, manage other people's perceptions, anticipate every possible problem? The surrender you practice at night becomes a template for letting go during the day. I've noticed this in my own life. When I'm in a difficult conversation, I can feel myself wanting to control how the other person responds. But I've learned to mentally whisper to myself, this moment is safe enough to let go. The same affirmation I use for sleep works for waking surrender too. When I'm anxious about a future event, tomorrow will arrive whether I think about it or not, brings me back to the present moment. The practice transcends its original context and becomes a way of moving through the world with less resistance, less rigidity, less fear. This is worth repeating. What you practice at night shapes who you become during the day. Now let me address something important. This practice isn't a magic pill. I don't want to oversell it or set up unrealistic expectations. Some nights, you'll use your affirmations and still lie awake longer than you'd like. Some nights your mind will be too activated by genuine concerns that need addressing. Some nights, there might be physical factors, caffeine too late, hormonal fluctuations, environmental dommage, disruptions that make sleep elusive despite your best intentions. This doesn't mean the practice has failed. It means you're human. The goal isn't to achieve perfect sleep every single night. The goal is to change your relationship with the journey towards sleep, to make the time between waking and sleeping less torturous, to give yourself companionship in those liminal moments with words that are kind and true and gentle. Even on nights when sleep comes slowly, if you've spent that time treating yourself with gentleness rather than frustration, you've won something valuable. You've practiced self-compassion. You've strengthened your capacity to be with difficulty without adding suffering on top of it. That matters. Let me share some specific affirmations that have become favorites in my practice, not because they're universally perfect, but because they might spark your own creativity in developing affirmations that speak to you. Sleep is coming to find me. I love this one because it reverses the usual dynamic. You're not chasing sleep. Sleep is coming toward you. You just need to stay still enough to be found. I release my grip on this day. Perfect for those nights when your mind keeps replaying something that happened earlier. The day is over. You can let it go now. My mind can rest even while thoughts move through. This one helped me stop fighting my thoughts. They can be there. They just don't need my attention or engagement. I am held by this moment. When anxiety makes me feel untethered, this affirmation grounds me in the physical present. The bed holding me, the pillow supporting my head, the blanket weighing on my body. There is nothing I need to figure out right now. Such relief in this one. Whatever problem is nagging at you, it doesn't need to be solved at 11 p.m. It will still be there tomorrow if it needs your attention. I trust my body's wisdom. For those moments when you're frustrated with your body for not performing on command, this reminds you that your body has successfully kept you alive for your entire life. It knows what it's doing. Here's what matters most. Gentle affirmation practice for sleep isn't about adding one more thing to your self-improvement to-do list. It's about finally giving yourself permission to stop doing and start being. In a culture obsessed with productivity and optimization, sleep is the great equalizer. You cannot hack your way through it. You cannot force it. You cannot earn it through sufficient effort. You can only allow it. And allowing true allowing requires trust. Trust that your body knows what it needs. Trust that letting go is safe. Trust that you don't need to maintain conscious control of every moment. Trust that the universe, or life, or whatever you want to call it, will continue functioning while you rest. Gentle affirmations are the words that walk you into that trust. They're the hand you hold as you approach the edge of consciousness. They're the voice that reminds you that you've done this before, you'll do it again, and tonight, in this moment, you can simply surrender. When you lie down tonight, try it. Choose any affirmation that resonates with you. Say it slowly, with tenderness, as though you're speaking to someone you love. Because you are. You're speaking to yourself, and you deserve that gentleness. Notice what happens when you stop fighting and start flowing. Notice how your body responds to kindness instead of criticism. Notice how surrender, far from being weakness, is actually the deepest strength, the courage to let go when everything in you wants to grip tighter. Sleep will come, maybe quickly, maybe slowly, but it will come. Your only task is to create the conditions of receptivity, to become soft where you've been hard, to become open where you've been defended, to whisper truths that calm rather than activate. This is the practice. This is the path. And you already have everything you need to walk it.